Good evening, everyone. It's 6 o'clock, and I call this meeting to order. Today is October the 2nd, 2025, at 6 p.m. The purpose of this meeting is to adopt a resolution, R-2025-35, to set the 2025 millage rate for Union County. I hereby adopt resolution 2-2025-35 to set the 2025 millage rate for Union County maintenance and operation at 3.952 mills. The gross maintenance and operation millage rate for Union County was set at 6.251 for 2025 and was then decreased by 2.299 from the local option sales tax, or LOS, as it is most often referred to. This gives a total millage rate for 2025 of 3.952, which is a decrease from last year's millage rate of 4.131. Loss is a 1 cent on every dollar that is spent in Union County and is collected as part of sales tax. This money is then given back to Union County after the state collected for the sole purpose of offsetting property tax. I adjourn this meeting. Any questions?
I don't know if I actually, with the number of people here, whether I need to use the microphone. But these numbers don't tell us the amount of actual property tax money that is to come in with the adoption of those numbers. The adoption of the 6.25 number will result in a total income of property tax of only $17,879,000. That is a decrease of over $2 million of the property tax from last year. Additionally, that number of what is it, 2.299 for the lost revenue translates to a income of only $6.75 million, which again is a decrease of over $2 million of the lost revenue for last year. How in the world can our lost revenue decrease by $2 million? Okay, it's a 1% sales tax. The only way it can decrease by $2 million is we have that much less spending in Union County. That is not going to happen. These numbers are not reasonable. And at the same time, in 2024, the budget that your predecessor, Lamar Paris, set included drawing $2.8 million from reserves in order to balance that budget. It all was shown as county supplements. Okay, $2.8 million we were short in that budget and needed to draw from reserves. Now, if, and I certainly believe, we will see an increase in our total expenses in the coming year. They've been increasing $3 to $4 million a year for the past several years. Okay? If that actually happens, and they've been increasing about 11, 12, 13%. I used an estimated increase of only 10%. And my guesstimate for 2026, when you do the budget in November, that we will be in the range of about $7 million short. Okay. where is the money coming from? Have you adjusted the budget that you were left with by Lamar? Or are we still operating under that budget? Okay.
We're still operating on the 25 budget.
Right, the one that Lamar did, so you haven't amended it. So as I say, that budget tells us that we're gonna have to draw almost $3 million out of reserves in order to meet that budget. And they've been doing pretty good in the 23, actually the 24 budget that was just audited. As you remember, it actually came in with about $1.25 million shortfall taken out of, and that budget had estimated 1.5. So it was, right in the ballpark. They expected to have to pull 1.5 million. They pulled out 1.25. The budget you're operating on is going to take almost 3 million to budget. And they may be off a little, maybe it's only 2 or 2.5, okay? Where is Union County gonna find the money? You're showing a $2 million decrease in property tax revenue.
Well, Ms. Kay, our finance director, I don't know that too.
Actually, your assumptions are incorrect. Property tax, the amount of property tax we expect to collect this year is $11.3 million.
No, ma'am. That's the amount that you're going to get, you're expecting to get from the property owner,
That's right, and that's property tax.
right?
So that's 11.3 is what we will gain. Let me just. So this is the PP 32. This is what the state has us fill out to calculate the millage rate.
Can you make that, can you enlarge it?
Just a second.
Okay. Thank you.
So here is, you can see the calculations. We've got the 2024 digest, the 2024 digest, the reassessment of property, other changes, and then the 2025 digest. So this is calculated at 3.952. Then we go down and we calculate the rollback. And actually there's 2 rollbacks. There's the net value of the added reassessment. So as property values go up, we roll back for that amount. And then also for loss tax. So we roll back for that amount as well. So the calculated amount here is 3.952. That will give us $11.3 million in property tax only. Not motor vehicle tax,
Yep.
not any of the other taxes. So that would give us 11.3 million. But here's where the assumptions, this is what we need to understand to be able to understand how the county budgets. The M&O budget, materials and operations, contains funds. So we have general government, and this is just a few of them. Not all of them, just a few of them. If you look at those in yellow, those are enterprise funds. Those bring in revenue. So within this pooled cash account, that's what we call each fund has a balance. So there's money that moves around between these funds. Those are the transfers, the internal transfers. It's not money going out,
That's right.
it's money staying in. Now, when we talk about reserves, the loss tax here is not in the pooled cash account. It's in an investment account with the state, currently earning about 4.1%. That is also part of the M&O budget. And when Mr. Peterson's talking about reserves, he's talking about what is in the loss fund right now.
No, ma'am, that's not correct.
You're talking about a fund balance. It is not money that is set aside somewhere else. It is right there. We draw down on it as we need it. And then the state deposits into it every month the lost sales tax. Now, if you look here, the capital projects budget, SPLOST is there. There are others, special funds, restricted funds that cannot be mixed with the M&O budget. The capital projects,
Yep.
the budget for that is fairly easy. You calculate what you think you're going to bring in, and then you calculate what you think you'll spend over that time. If you bring in less, you spend less. So for capital projects, restricted funds, that's the way that works. Here, you're taking in, you have property taxes here, short-term rental tax, financial institution tax, alcohol excise, cellular telephone, all of transfer station fees. So we're bringing in all of this income. Now, the budget we did for this year, we started a new process. In the past, they used conventional budgeting, which means they took last year, they said, this is what we think it's gonna, this is what more we think it's gonna take next year, and that's how they budgeted. You end up with about a 10% increase. Not all departments had a 10% increase, but somewhere between 5 and 19% generally. This year, we started at 0. We gave all of the department heads a list of their expenses and asked them to budget for their expenses. We calculated salaries, salary increases. We calculated everything that we know is going to happen. We know if the county's going to run, we have to pay employees. We know that we have obligations by the state to support the judicial district. We don't have a choice in that. So those are things that we have to do. Now, when we say fund balance, each of these funds has a balance in them, and it's calculated. And so, if it is in the negative, then they are spending more than they have taken in or been allotted for. There are times that the general government fund has to put money into these other funds. We have to make that clear. We have to show that as those transfers. The internal service fund is for our health insurance. This year it will be charged to the departments. That money then goes into an internal service fund, and our insurance company pays claims from that because we're self-insured. So when you talk about reserve, there is not something else over here that's in reserve. There's not.
I will respond to that. Clay Pilgrim, when he gave was it in July that he gave the audit, okay? He spoke about the fact that we had a, call it reserve, emergency, whatever, of around $9 million. Okay? That's not lost money, that is the county reserve for emergencies.
That is lost money. I operate the bank account, it's lost money. That's exactly what that is. When he's talking about reserves, he's talking about the fund balances in each of these funds. Now, what the state expects us to do is to have 3 to 4 months worth of reserves. We leave those sitting in this lost account because it draws so much interest. So as if we have to draw down on it, then we draw down on it, it's still earning interest.
Oh, that's perfectly fine. When the budget is drawn, you estimate expenses, you estimate revenue. Okay? The estimated revenue is going to be based on the 6.25 number. Okay?
Okay?
All right. And
Which includes the loss.
when Lee Knight sends out his bill, the top, you have the county M&O millage rate, and that generates a certain amount of property tax. That is the actual property tax. Okay? It is paid for in 2 pieces. One being money coming in from LOST, and secondly, money coming from the property owner. But the actual property tax is that 6-point number.
Okay?
That number, I take that 6-point number, multiply it by the net digest, you get $17 million. Okay? If I take it from, let me get the right number here. In 25, I multiply those numbers, and the total property tax is almost 20 million, not 17.9 million. That's why I say there is a decrease in the estimated property tax of $2.1 million this year. Okay. Now, if I take the number that you use for the what you call the rollback, and I hate using that term for it because it's not for the loss, that 2.29 number, I multiply that, and I come up with only $6.6 million being expected to offset the property tax. Okay? In the previous year, there had been $8.7 million used to offset. How come we are going to only offset our property owners by $6.6 million this year when we did it by $8.7 million last year? And it's the same 1% sales tax.
So the rollback for the last 3 or 4 years has been calculated improperly. It was, the end result was basically the same, but there was money added to the loss that should not have been. However, if you look at this, and this is, I downloaded this afternoon. This is, if you can see it, our local option sales tax. In 2020, we collected 5.7 million and earned 23,599 in interest income or investment income. So you can see all the way down, it has always been, lost has always brought in basically the same. It has climbed each year as prices have gone up, so therefore tax goes up. And then for 2025, I estimated this by taking it, we got the figures for the end of September. I divided that by 9, multiplied it by 12, and came up with this figure. So this has always been the same. The difference is if we go back and look at the, let's see, the financial institution taxes. Those go into the M&O budget just like property taxes do. And in the unincorporated portions of the county, that goes to support the fire department, to help pay for their budget. It's in the budget, but it's not showing in the rollback.
Okay, what you are trying, I believe, to say is that under Lamar, we have been getting roughly $2 million additional offset to the individual's property tax.
No.
We had, in last year, they had the property tax, total property tax was, like I say, almost 20 million. They showed a offset of 8.7 million, all right, getting down to about 11 million last year. Okay. Okay. I understand what you are saying is that they overstated both of them by $2 million.
So it was just, if you look at this again, what they did on the property tax rollback is they included both the property tax, $11 million, plus the financial institution tax, which is 2.5 million.
Yeah, that's what I just said. They
Exactly.
added the
That's what it
2.5,
showed.
both to the gross and the rollback, which
Exactly.
netted out to 0. Okay?
That's exactly right.
That's fine, okay? Our government doesn't tell us what's going on, okay? Because you look at these numbers, that information isn't available.
Well, and I appreciate what you're saying, and
All right.
let me respond. So we will have a budget meeting in November.
Oh, yeah, and I will be there.
I have no doubt. Yeah. We have simplified the budget, made it more transparent. I will be going through it step by step and explaining it at that point.
Okay. It doesn't, that explanation, I take, I understand what you're saying on that. But that doesn't obviate the fact that the budget has been in deficit, okay, because that was a net out anyway, okay? So the deficit of $1.5 million in the quarter in the 24 budget as audited, the expected 2.8 million deficit for the budget that we're operating right now that Lamar left us with. You're not predicting any increase in revenue from property tax. So if we're already almost in a 25 budget, it's 3 million in the hole. We're looking forward to 26. We can assume that there's going to be some increase in the total county expenses. It's not going to stay the same. So we're going to need more money for that. We're still going to end up in the hole in the 26 budget.
So when the audit talks about the budget, it talks about expenses. And so and the budget has to be balanced at the fund level.
Yeah.
So it doesn't take into account increased revenue. The budget is just that, projections. It is, we take what we have and we look at it, we do our best to try to determine what's going to happen next year.
Right, on both the expenses and the revenue side.
And the revenue, exactly. Now, revenue has increased for the county in areas, and because this is not the budget meeting, I won't get into it, but at that point I will, because I will show you the breakdown of the revenues and what we expect the revenues to be, as well as what we expect the expenses to be. Additionally, we've worked hard to cut expenses this year for 2026. So, I mean, there are a lot of explanations, but I think we're putting the cart before the horse.
I would like to make a very solid proposal right here, which would obviate, I think, a lot of these problems. We are currently on a calendar year, fiscal year. Okay? That means the budget comes in November, and you're setting the millage rate that helps to balance that budget prior to doing the budget. If we were, the school, for example, has a very different problem. Or don't have that problem because they're on a fiscal year that ends June 30th. Okay, so they do their budget before they have to establish their millage rate. If the county were to switch to the same sort of a, July 1st to June 30th, we would be doing the budget prior to establishing the millage rate. We know what the standard status is of our budget. And then when we have this meeting, we wouldn't have these problems. We'd have hashed out.
There is nothing I would love more than to go from a July 1 to a June 30th fiscal year. The state operates on that fiscal year, the courts operate on that fiscal year.
The schools.
The schools, I would love to do that. But it's not a matter of just saying, oh, by the way, we're not going to do it the way we have been doing it. We're going to change it. And this is my first year. We're trying to figure it out, trying to simplify it, make it more transparent. That may at some point come, and I hope it does. It would make my life much easier.
It would make the county's life easier. We as citizens of the county are actually responsible for our budget.
No,
okay?
and I understand that.
And it means we need information. And right now, and Harold, you, during your campaign, you talked about specifically transparency and accountability. I'm not seeing so far the transparency that I hope to see, so that we as the citizens can really understand and be a part of our government instead of watching our government happen.
And I appreciate that, I do. But understand, this is not a speedboat, it's a giant battleship, and we can't turn it on a dime. So, Harold, the commissioner started January 1, I started in February. We have started moving in the right direction, I believe, and I think we're going to get there, but it is going to take us some time.
I'm going to continue to be a thorn until I get information. You know, you've given me some this evening, okay, where I understand now this financial institution and how it was effectively misreported, okay, in 2 items. I can't see that, okay, with the information that is available to us as the citizens. I can only operate from what information you provide to me and some information that I've obtained through ORRs that dig into it, okay? Until I get more information, I'm going to continue to ask questions and force issues. Okay.
And I suspect even after you get more information, people.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised at all, okay?
But that is, you know, and I agree, I think we are doing everything we can. We should be transparent. We are making major changes to allow for that, which you will see in the budget meeting. The fiscal year is set. There's nothing we can do about it this year or next year.
No, I realize I'm putting that forth as something in the future, and it would be a very big help to the county to operate on a July to June fiscal year.
But
a lot of things would be easier to understand for us, the citizens.
And I will let the commissioner speak to his, what he campaigned on, but I can tell you that that is a focus of my work
Okay.
to do that.
Well, I'll summarize it at the end. Irrespective of this financial institution back, it looks like we're going to have problems, okay, unless there is some big savings in the budget, okay? Our expenses are high and they're not being covered, okay? But we're having to draw down on what Lamar used to refer to as our emergency funds if Helene would have hit a little bit further south, okay? And we're using that now for just standard O&M operations. And it looks like we're going to have to take more of that money out, unless you surprise the heck out of me coming November, all right?
Well, I think when we get to November and the budget is finalized, and I want to be, you know, again, transparent. We started working on this budget back in July. So we have been working on it. It's not that we went into this millage rate without having any idea what we were looking at. We started in July, speaking with department heads, and going about it that way. So it's not something that we are not aware of, that we just picked this number out of the sky. We have been working on this. I am fairly confident that you will see the transparency and be happy with it.
But we will wait to see it.
All right.
Okay.
I'd just like to say that this lady and all our office staff, it's not an 8 to 5 job. I mean, they have spent hours after work for something that I believe in, they believe in. When the government is used to doing something, and I'm gonna say even further back than 24 years, when it's gone one way and then when you expect a change, it takes time. You know, it takes a while. It don't happen overnight. But this lady and all our office staff has, I mean, they're there. I get there at 7:30, they will talk after I drop my child off. Most of them's already there. They stay after dark. They have working on this stuff for y'all. And it is going to be transparent. You know, as honest as we can be, it will be presented again, whether you like it or not. But we are going to be honest. It will be honest. You know, but I don't feel any other way.
Harold, I would like to add something to what you just said there. Ms. Kay started in February working for the county. And I can assure you that this lady has worked more 16-hour days since she started than she has 10-hour days. I know that for a fact. When you ride through the office, multiple nights through the week, come through here at 9 o'clock, her car's still sitting in the parking lot. I appreciate what she has done.
And Saturdays and Sundays as well.
Weekends as well.
Yep.
I do know for a fact she worked about 5 months straight before she took the full weekend off.
I would just like to say, I'm not saying anything against Kay at all here. What I was able to, I had certain information given to me, okay? I analyze that information. It raises questions, and those questions needed to be answered. All right? She answered one of the questions, okay, that are for 4 years, the reporting in here is effectively incorrect. Okay, she says she has corrected, but without that feedback from her, there's no way I can figure that out. There's no information available to me, okay? And that's why I have to ask these questions.
Give her the opportunity to finish it and present it in November and see how we
Yeah,
look with it.
As I said, and Kay knows I'll be here in November to look at it. I hope we got a lot of good information available, because I will look at it and I will analyze it and I'll ask questions if necessary.
Any other questions?
I've got one. Do I need to come up there, or can I just?
You can,
Okay. With what I call the unfortunate increase in the population in this county. What? Louder? I said with what I call the unfortunate increase in the population in the county, and I know the budget's coming in next week, next month, but do you already have in the budget an increase for first responders? An increase in sheriff's department, an increase in fire department? I tell you, I was excited when I saw Station 13 go up, because I live off of Gumlaw, and we have a volunteer fire department, but these people that volunteer, they've got jobs, and you don't know how long, it may take them to get out there. So that's what I was wondering, if it's even in the budget for an increase. And I know they can get grants. I worked for the city of Gainesville for 16 years, so I know about the grants, because I worked at the police department for 12 of those. But to me, it's important that we keep enough first responders to keep up with the population, because with an increase in population, inevitably you're going to have an increase in crime, because I saw that in Hall County. So that's my biggest, concern.
Well, I'd just like to say, I think you can add Chief Dyer there. I've not cut anything from the fire department, police department. I mean, these guys and women, ladies and gentlemen, that's what runs this county. They keep it safe. So, he'll tell you, we get along good, and
We have done really good this year with the budget that we've had before. We're looking at, Ms. Kay was actually one, we've been working on the budget since April, if you really want to look at it. So, yes, we have looked at every expense that we have. We are always continuously moving forward. Mr. Collins has supported us all the way on anything that we come along. I don't think there's any department that I could pretty much say that truthfully, has come to you and said, you're not doing good for us, because everybody says he's doing good for us. So we're prepared on that, and I think Sheriff Dyer would say the same thing.
Do y'all have any plans for any more fire departments to go up within the next year or two? Any more stations
Like
to go
career
up?
stations?
Yeah, crew stations that are fully staffed.
Not in the
full-time.
next year. Now, we have a strategic plan that we are always continuously working, but we spread those things out a little bit so that we can kind of catch up, for lack of any better terms. So, yeah, there's always a plan for that. And the budget always is supporting that.
Because when you move from, and I was never so happy to get out of Hall County that I was when we moved up here. And I grew up in Hall County. So, you get used to seeing all of those stations and, all the sheriff's department outlets that they've got through the county. But that's what I was so concerned about, the increase in the population starting to go up, so.
I feel like we're keeping a really good pace, both the sheriff's office.
And if I can just add to that, what we did this year, and currently the sheriff's department has more than 5 vacancies, less than 10, but more than 5, I think. We budgeted for those. They have been in the budget, but finding people to fill those jobs has been an issue. But we accounted for vacancies and for the need to hire more staff.
Are there still grants that are easily available? That's why I put that little caveat, easily
I don't know
available.
that, you know,
For like cars.
We don't want to talk about grants.
there's
There's a- I
no
filled out
such
grant
thing
paperwork
as
before, I
free
know what
money,
it's
I
like.
can tell you
So-
that. There are grants, and Chief Dyer can speak to that because his department goes after those grants like no tomorrow.
We drive them crazy about it.
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
And then, and the sheriff's department, every department in the county goes after grants. And we've been, I mean, they're successful. And then keeping up with those on the back end, which is our job, is the difficult part. But they go after, and we have gotten numerous grants.
Good.
I mean, the fire department has. So they have done a tremendous job, both the fire department and the sheriff's department, of going after grants and being successful at it.
Anyone else? Thank y'all for coming. Y'all have a good day.